3-1, the head-to-head in Andre Agassi's favour. They've been pretty convincing wins most of the time, but Federer in 2003 is a much more convincing character than he was before. He's a warm favourite here, but try telling that to the sellout 8,500 crowd here. It's Federer to begin.
Seats quickly, please. Thank you.
Slight pause while there are quite a few people arriving late.
Play.
We'll enjoy the match with us. Federer goes his own pace, poker face right the way through the match against Roddick. Not a flicker of emotion, but by the end he was playing simply breathtaking tennis.
40 under.
It looks like he might be starting where he left off there.
First serve percentage was very high against Roddick, and it's so difficult to read. It's going to be very important because obviously Agassi is one of the best returners the world has ever seen.
Let's first serve.
So a love service game for Federer, and early signs that all the parts are nicely oiled, as they have been all week. He's got better and better. In fact, perhaps his performance against Agassi, just in pure tennis terms, although he won it, was his least impressive performance so far.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that, and I think that win was really the catalyst that he's been able to use to play his very best tennis. He's beaten the other 3 Grand Slam champions this week, and his record against other top 10 players hasn't been particularly good throughout the year, and I think this has given him a huge amount of confidence, and we're going to see somewhere near his very best tennis this afternoon.
Just a 5-set final, of course.
Love 15.
Done consistently well through the week. His serve,
it's got him out of a lot of trouble, and the shot that he's had most problems with has been the backhand, so it's going to be important to keep an eye on both of those shots.
Sharp shooting from Andre.
30-15.
I think it's important that Agassi gets off to a good start. Obviously, he's played a lot more tennis than Federer has this week, and it might be difficult if he gets behind in the match. So I think it's imperative that he strikes the ball well early on, and perhaps gets a little lead over Federer.
There were long periods in his semi-final against Schuttler when he really couldn't dominate. Every time he went for a big shot like that one, it was going astray. Even at the end, it wasn't that convincing. He clawed it out. Got to do more than that here, and it looks like he might be. There's not much you can do against a forehand like that one.
Yeah, Agassi not doing enough with it. You've got to really put Federer under pressure in terms of movement, and not doing so on that occasion. And then Federer's been hitting both the forehand and the backhand particularly well this week, but the forehand is so heavy. Agassi's got to be careful when hitting towards that wing.
Federer forehand weaving its own magic.
I think we can use the Agassi backhand down the line as a pretty fair barometer as to how he's playing. It's a shot that he has struggled with this week, and it's important to him because he likes to move his opponent around as much as possible and change direction on the ball, particularly if it's dropped short.
So this is good.
A nice start by both players. Bodes well for the whole match, and I think Agassi will be particularly pleased because, as you say, Simon, he hasn't played anywhere near his best tennis all week, but he has found a way to win.
Well, this is just the start we hope for. Agassi looks as if he's found his form. Interesting, talk about the physical exertion he's put himself through this week as well as the mental, but he says he is stronger than ever. He said his weight's in the gym. The figures are better than they've ever been. He's been doing a fair amount of that. Not so much tennis. Picked his tennis up a couple of weeks ago. Not just forehands from Federer, that's the problem. And can Agassi match shots like that?
Yeah, the backhand down the line's been working superbly for Federer, and it's so difficult to read.
Mighty blow from Agassi.
86 miles an hour on this return, but the key is he took it 4 feet inside the baseline. Absolutely no chance for Federer to respond. He just had no time whatsoever after the serve. Nice change up from Federer, and that's one of the advantages he has over the American. So many tactical options to choose from, particularly when he gets himself in a little bit of a hole.
Just brilliant. Agassi didn't deserve that. He defended so well.
Yeah, it was good tennis. He got that ball back to a length, but not quite enough pace on it. Federer able to get set up nicely with the feet and then just swing freely through the ball.
Caught in two minds there, Federer.
I think one of the reasons was that Agassi took the return a lot earlier than perhaps he has been doing all week, and I think he knows that he has to play somewhere near his best tennis, and so therefore the second serve return to serve is going to be very important for him. He has to hurt Federer with that shot, otherwise he's going to struggle.
Two aces for Roger. Looking in typically serene form, he leads 2 games to 1. Total concentration is what you get from Federer. And total concentration is what you get from Agassi too. But he really has matured as a man this year.
Yeah, when I talked about his tennis last year and what he might achieve during 2003, I said he needed to mature a little bit, needed more consistency in his game, not only throughout individual matches but from week to week, and I think he's been able to achieve that this year. He's won tournaments on different surfaces, he's played pretty well throughout the year, and I think that now he's he's comfortable with his potential and what he might achieve in the game, particularly after doing so well in Wimbledon.
Watch himself up on the big screen like Andy Roddick does so many times, but Federer's not that kind of guy. Just complete focus on the job in hand. Federer Express has been rocketing along this year from city to city, right across the world. What a time it is for Federer in Switzerland. He is the #1 sportsman in his country now. Last year, the footballers from Basel did so well in the European Championship, in the UEFA Champions League. They were the big heroes, but this year, they're not so good. Federer's won Wimbledon, and he is the #1 focus of attention. So just waiting for 2 people to sit down. Here we go.
One of the similarities that both these players have. They don't like to give up any territory on the baseline. There might be a lot of half volleys, therefore why they have to be playing somewhere near their best, because it's very difficult to time those shots if you take a full swing at the ball.
There's the Federer camp, Mother Lynette on the right, and the girlfriend Miroslava, the fitness trainer, and then Peter Lundgren. Little looks overhead. It's okay. It's still pretty overcast, but no rain imminent. Famous last words.
You don't have a great record since
yesterday. I said the clouds were going to pass, and then it rained for an hour. Federer camp absolutely loved that shot, and danger lurking here for Agassi. And even more so now. He can't stop hitting winners that side.
The accuracy there was the key. Didn't hit it too hard. Agassi was expecting Federer to just go cross-court with that shot, so it was the surprise element that worked so well.
The first break point of the match goes to the Swiss. Yes, gathered himself together so well, Federer. It's a very tricky shot, but he has the skills to do it. And Federer has broken.
It was a great rally, really, from both players. Agassi was a little unlucky because Federer mistimed that attempted forehand pass and found himself in a very difficult situation, but a good last-second adjustment from Federer on the backhand side earned him the break.
Let's for serve.
Agassi is being humbled at the moment, but he was in the first set against Juan Carlos Ferrero, who was playing breathtaking tennis. Agassi's playing better today than he was then. But so many times this year he's found himself looking at the gun and he's somehow dodged the bullets. Can he do it one more time?
30.
I think Federer started very smartly. He's playing a lot of shots back behind Agassi, and we know Agassi's okay when he gets planted and likes to dominate his opponents, but he doesn't move particularly well when he's under pressure, particularly when he has to change direction.
That's how good it's been. Agassi, just one unforced error. It's been koshed.
Game, Federer. Federer leads 4.
Just a sensational start from Roger Federer. And he leads 4-1. Doesn't get much better than this.
I don't think Federer would have quite believed he would have been able to start the match so well, but we've talked a lot about how important this week's been for Federer in terms of confidence. I think it's also been a very good week for Agassi. He said he came here with a few question marks hanging over his head after a poor performance at the US Open, and I think that he's been delighted with the fact that he's been able to at least live with the best players in the world after having a 2-month break, and he said that it was something that he wishes he'd done more often in his career. Take a little break, get rid of the niggling injuries. He talked about the hip injury that was plaguing him since the clay court season, and I think he's been able to get rid of that, come here now, play well. Even if he loses today, it's been a successful week, and then he can go into the so-called off-season and prepare well for Australia, looking forward to a very positive year next year. And I think it's important, especially as you get a little bit older, that you can still see yourself living with these youngsters.
Not looking too distressed at the moment. He might have expected this. Yes, Agassi young and fresh after his 2-month break. And obviously, it's been a success. I asked him earlier in the week about that, why other players perhaps don't do the same thing, and he said maybe they do it for the wrong reasons. He said you've got to take your break for the right reasons, positive reasons. If you do it for negative reasons, you may never come back. One fall.
15.
Can't see it, but I'm told that down on the court side, just a few drops of rain. Very, very light at the moment. Pray it stays that way, because this has started so good. It would be criminal if it started to rain now, because the tennis is absolutely fantastic.
And it's difficult for the players. Once they start, they get warmed up, they get into the match. Even if you find yourself 4-1 down in the opening set, at least you're in it. To go off and then come back on again just disrupts everything.
There's one slightly darker cloud overhead, which is passing, and hopefully pass without any intervention.
I think the one positive for Agassi, even though he finds himself in a bit of a hole, is the fact that he is playing okay. One thing if you're not playing particularly well, and as he has done in patches throughout the week, but he's just been outplayed, so at least then he can concentrate on perhaps Federer having a slightly poor patch in the match.
And the key thing too is it's a 5-7.
Much more time to play yourself into the match. Agassi, of course, has so much experience that he'll know that, so he won't be unduly worried at the moment, but of course he'd like to rectify the situation as quickly as possible.
As good a return as he's made.
It's going to be important that he takes advantage of the Federer serve, particularly when he's serve and volleys, because he's got to keep Federer at the back of the court if he's to stand the best possible chance of winning.
15.
Previous point was the first he's got on the Federer first serve. Jim McInvale right at the top there with Brad Jewett, the tournament director, McInvale, the tournament chairman, promoter, and right up there because he's Andre Agassi's chief supporter.
30 all.
Up there because if he was down courtside, he'd be, I think, a little bit too visible to the players. One or two have taken exception to that, particularly Mr. Nalbandian. Another screen.
Well, he's confident in his own ability, so he's going to keep going for the lines. He knows he has to, really, playing against somebody as good as Agassi. So far, it's working.
Just an amazing display this from Roger Federer. 5 aces now. 5 games as well. 5-2 he leads.
Well, it's been fantastic performance, particularly on serve for Federer. 55% of first serves in, and he's winning 91% of points when the first serve finds its mark. He's just dropped single points so far on first serve, and he's winning 67% of points on second serve, and that's the key. Agassi has to get after the Federer weaker delivery, otherwise he's got very little chance at all. And so for Federer to have started so well, particularly in that department, he'll be absolutely delighted.
When he arrived here, Federer had 1 or 2 things to say about the court surface. Didn't particularly like it, it slanted away. Didn't think that the arena was big enough, and 1 or 2 local journalists took exception. Mr. McInvale had him in his office. Some difficult moments, but now he's very happy with everything. A little bit of a retraction. But his tennis is telling the story. Federer surveying the scene and just purring at the moment. Everyone's purring, watching.
The main consideration really for Federer at this stage of the match is to maintain concentration and focus. He couldn't hit the ball any better than he started doing in this match, and you can see him there as he just walks out onto court. He's just rubbing his foot across the line because obviously it started to spit with rain, and the lines are the first thing which give the players a little bit of bother.
Seems that rain has just stopped at the moment. No umbrellas up. Everybody looking unconcerned. Agassi, though, is concerned. He's serving to stay in the set. It shows no sign of stopping. It's just relentless. One glorious winner after another.
Length just not good enough from Agassi, and Federer is going to take advantage of anything short, be it on the forehand or the backhand.
Wonderful. That's what the crowd want. At last, Agassi able to respond, soaks up the best that Federer can give, and gives him some himself.
His anticipation was the key. Federer has an option here to go to the backhand or the forehand. Agassi decided to take a chance, and he was absolutely right. Federer did indeed go to the forehand, therefore Agassi was ready to respond.
Super rally. It has to be that good at the moment for Agassi to win points, but he's responding.
And it's vital that Agassi holds serve here for a couple of reasons. First, obviously, to keep himself in this opening set, but the second, to stop Federer serving first in the second, because the way that the Swiss has started on his own delivery, it would be a distinct advantage.
just gets better and better.
It's an effective tactic to use against Agassi. A little slice shot, but it's slightly more effective if you can do it to the backhand, so that when he gets up to the ball, he's either forced to play the single-handed slice or a two-handed backhand lower than the height of the net, which is a lot more difficult to flick with the wrist.
Agassi does what he had to do, hold serve. I think the best set so far has been second set, Correa and Roddick. It was just fantastic. I think this levels it.
Both players are playing well. It's just a case of Agassi not getting a look in on the Federer delivery.
The crowd might start to get involved and have a real part to play here. I think he's having a good look at that. But just got some of the line, right, Morrissey, dead right. Not to get involved. Terrific serving. And Roger Federer then with 3-2 set points. Great that you should finish the set like that. Very well played, Roger Federer. The best player in the world, doing just what we wanted him.
Hey, Mike, I think we've got 7 balls. I think we've got 7 balls.
I don't think he can play much better. It's as simple as that, because everything was working well. He was able to dominate his own service games because the serve was so effective, and then when Agassi served, he took his opportunity, and that's all that was required. 56% of first serves is pretty good, but he only lost 2 points on the first serve throughout the set, so it was very effective. He'll be delighted if he can continue that. Check out those stats. 20 winners, 6 unforced errors against Agassi. That's amazing. Only had 1 break point, but took full advantage of it. Agassi, on the other hand, didn't play particularly badly. Just a single unforced error in the set, and he didn't get a look in, and he served at 65% of first serves. So I think from Agassi's point of view, he's just got to try and continue and hope that Federer can't sustain this level of play.
Has he got to step it up a little bit, Agassi?
He did yesterday. He said when he dropped the opening set to Schuttler, he started to take the ball on a little bit more, take a few more risks. Perhaps with only 1 unforced error, he isn't going for it enough. And so I think maybe that's a tactic he might start to use in the second set.
Settle back and watch just a few of the glorious winners that Federer produced in the first 27 minutes. Roger Federer, this is how he took the first set, with a simply wonderful backhand cross court. Again, no reaction. He knows he can do it, and he's produced it time after time. There's a crowd now.
Second set, Agassi to
Interesting to see how Agassi responds to this. Will he step it up? He's been comprehensively outplayed in that first set. Didn't like that shot.
No, he doesn't like being run around the baseline. He's the one that he wants to be doing all the dictating from the baseline, and doesn't defend particularly well on the backhand, more so than anywhere else.
Let's first serve.
Must have been very close. Justice done there, because looking back at the monitor that we have here, the TMI shows that the first serve was in. Another lane return from Federer, that's it.
Turning defence into attack. Federer is under extreme pressure, but that single-handed slice backhand, which is so underrated, got him back in the rally, and then he was able to change direction on the ball, which was slightly short from Agassi.
Two great points for Federer here to strike right at the start of the second set. Ooh, so close. Guessed it, saw it, played it. Thought it was going to go in, but away it was. Second break point.
First game, second set.
Isn't it the script? Second double from Andre Agassi. And Roger Federer has a break. Now, what was going on there?
Well, I think that was a direct result of the fact that Federer has just been able to dominate Agassi from the baseline. So he knows if he puts in an average serve, Federer is going to be on the offensive from the very first shot. So he's trying to go for a little bit more, and obviously just making a couple of errors.
Tossed my mind back and has to get carried away here, because not against Juan Carlos Ferrero. We were saying the way that Ferrero was beating him up. Salutary experience for Agassi, and that make him think about next year and his commitment to the game. At the moment, he's being brutalized here by Federer. But he found a way to come back. He's got more time to find a way to come back here. Said earlier, I think the only positive thing for Agassi really is the fact that he's just been completely outplayed in every department, so that at least he can hope that Federer is not going to be able to keep this up over a 5-set match, and then perhaps he'll have a chance to get back into it.
13. 14.
Well, he's exploring every option with Agassi. sorted out with Darren Cahill beforehand. They are big examiners of matches. Anticipate almost every feasible possibility, and they even examined this one with him being carved up and what he might do. Slow, he's seen any opportunity to try and create some havoc of his own. Loud applause greeting the double. So much against Federer. I'm sure he'll take it that way, but to encourage Andre. Federer doesn't want to get carried away with his form.
Doesn't want to keep overhitting. Agassi good anticipation on the return of serve. Picked the fact that Federer was going to go and try and beat him up the tee. Definitely tried to change his tactics at the beginning of this second set. Now he's found himself behind, going for a little bit more, especially off the second serve, well inside the baseline when he's contacting the ball.
Seven aces now. Federer moving further ahead, and McInvale looking a little concerned. A few dark clouds overhead, but they're okay at the moment.
And obviously, I think it would be a distinct advantage for Agassi if the players were called off, if the weather started to deteriorate, because it would give him a chance to regroup and break Federer's momentum.
But as good a shot as he's played.
And that's the key really to Federer's play. Not only has he hit a lot of winning shots, he's put Agassi under so much pressure. Again, going back behind, using the short angle cross court, forcing Agassi to play with one hand, something he's not comfortable doing.
Third double from Agassi. Again, just probing a little bit too far. Wary of Federer's return. Federer just having a word with Mike Morrissey.
What's that?
It may be about the surface.
Too much, Stefan?
It is spitting. And interestingly, it was Federer who looked up at Mike Morrissey first to say, are you sure we should be carrying on in this?
Yeah, that was very surprising. You would have thought that Federer was definitely the one that would want to continue out there as long as possible.
Franson coming on. It's a marginal call. There's no umbrellas up. No one's reaching for any jackets or anything like that.
It's like on and off. It's just on the.
Interestingly, it's Agassi who.
Just stay here.
Agassi's saying stay. Federer marks the attention. I think they're going to stay. They're going to stop playing, but stay out there. which is frustrating.
This slight rain causes the lines to be a little slippery and the benefit of the players will
The whole play, just for a few moments.
It's the lines, the biggest problem.
It always is. We're going into the year 2004. I can't believe they can't find something to paint the lines on the court that isn't made of the same stuff as the court surface. So we don't have this problem. So frustrating. We're here, the crowd are here, the match is in full flow, and we're a few drops of rain and we've got to stop. It's ludicrous.
Actually now, just as you speak, it's started to rain a little bit harder. And the umbrellas are coming up, that cloud.
So it's right on cue then.
Dropping its load.
So the key now, I think, is to get the court covered as quickly as possible. If they are going to go off for rain, it is going to start getting a bit heavier, and perhaps that will be done slightly better than it was yesterday.
It was amazing yesterday. Forecast was of rain. Everyone could see the clouds emerging, but they didn't put the covers on until too late, and therefore we had to wait another 20-25 minutes once the rain came with the moisture under the covers. Eventually the covers came on, of course. Moisture under the covers was plentiful.
And of course, you do sympathise with the players because they don't want to get injured. If the lines are slippery, it only takes one movement to perhaps put somebody's career in jeopardy. So that's totally understandable, but nonetheless, it's very frustrating.
Dick might have been putting one or two thoughts in Agassi's playing, but when you've achieved what Agassi has, you wait till you're out.
So true enough, and the trouble for Agassi is he's got no room to manoeuvre. He's loved 30 now in this opening service game, and he's to go 2 breaks down and pretty much kiss the second set goodbye, and then there's a real mountain to climb.
So straight away, big moments, love 30, love 2, a set down. Great shot. And 3 break points for Roger Federer. And there's the break. Federer, 3 love to the good. For those of you who've just joined us, Roger Federer has just broken and has 2 breaks in this set. They've been off for 2.5 hours. They've just come back. The weather looks set fair. We're trying to be optimistic. And Federer looks set fair as well. Nightmare scenario. Agassi love 30. Already a breakdown. And well, the worst fears materialised.
Couldn't have played a worse couple of points, and it couldn't have cost him any more dearly than it did. A couple of unforced errors, and already now finding himself a double breakdown in the second set, and that takes a huge amount of pressure off Federer. Even if he was to play a relatively poor opening service game, he still has a distinct advantage in this set. And now if he's to go from strength to strength here and wrap this second set up as quickly as he wrapped the opening one up, then I think Agassi's got some real problems.
It's not an appetizing scoreline for the Americans here. They're doing all they can, though, to cheer their man home. His finals in the Masters Cup and before in the ATP World Championship had a habit of going quickly. Last year was an exception. Late through it, beating Juan Carlos Ferrero in an epic match in 5 sets. But the 2 before it went to straight sets in Sydney, remember, Hewitt beating Grosjean 3-3 and 4, and then in Lisbon, Keirton beating Andre here 4-4 and 4. Every point he gets will be cheered to the echo. So looking around, there quite a few people have had to go home. It's around 6,000, I would think, 5,500, 6,000 audience here. 8th ace for Roger.
Agassi continuing with trying to take that second serve as early as possible to put Federer under as much pressure as possible as soon as he can in the rally.
A little slow. Obviously, it's evening now. Maybe change of light distracts him. I don't know. He was up in the air for a long time. He didn't make a move.
Well, we saw that a couple of times when he played his match against Schuckler early on, when Schuckler tried little drop shots or little short angle backhands, and Agassi was unable to really anticipate the shot quickly enough to get even a start at the ball.
So love 4. Play on the restart is not as good as it was in the first section. Well, he was playing pretty well. Federer was just playing unbelievable.
First serve.
Not for the first time going off. No apparent reason.
Poor shot selection there from Federer, and an opportunity to put Agassi under even more pressure.
13.
Problem shot for him this week, that backhand across.
I think it's really hurt his confidence. He can't really use it to get his opponent moving at all with any confidence, because he's made so many unforced errors throughout the week.
Forehand across, no better. So great point for a third break in the set for Federer.
Federer leads.
Agassi doesn't have any reaction. It's the worst case scenario for the Americans here. Federer leads by a set and by 5-love in the second. Federer really hasn't hit top gear yet in this second phase of the match.
I think that would be the worrying thing for Agassi. If he came out on court and Federer just continued to play so well that there was not much he could do about it, then that's one thing. But he's come out on the court here and just made a whole host of unforced errors and really gifted the games to Federer. So without trying to put him under any pressure at all, he's found himself in a great position.
Very interesting to know the mindset of Andre Agassi right now. Having worked so hard to get to the final, he's not performing. He's going to dig deep, that's for sure. But there may come a section where, if he goes a breakdown in the third set, this set's a goner, that's for sure. If he goes a breakdown in the third, he may not be too competitive.
And we know that Agassi, when he does play well, he can steamroll his opponents because he plays so quickly between points. But when things aren't going well, that definitely works against him. And Federer has been able to take full advantage of that, because in the second set, Agassi's just lost point after point after point, and we've only been on court for 47 minutes in total for the match, and it's almost 2 sets to love. So Agassi's got to try and take his time a little bit. He's got to think about possibly changing the momentum by slowing Federer up and then hoping that he is able to hit somewhere near top gear.
Federer then. 5-love, serving for the second set. Nothing is happening for Andre. 3 set points for Federer. Third double. Cakewalk for Roger Federer, and he is 2 sets to the good. Only 5 times in his career has Andre come back from 2 sets down. Surely he can't do it. Famous occasion I remember was the '99 final at Roland Garros, when Agassi was struggling in the wind against Andre Medvedev. Then the rain came. By the time they came out, the wind had stopped. Agassi got the greatest win of his life because he completed his all 4 Grand Slams. But he got lucky that day. I don't see the luck coming here, do you?
No, it was a very different change in circumstances on that day, because, as you say, the wind did die down. That allowed him to then play his tennis of hitting the corners and moving Medvedev around, and the rain delay certainly worked in his favour on that day, but it hasn't seemed to work here. I mean, that second set lasting just 23 minutes, incredible really how many times you're going to be able to beat Agassi 6-love in your career. And Federer really not playing fantastic, but playing solidly enough. So really, Agassi's got to shore up his game. 12 unforced errors there, no winners in that set at all. So, you know, he's got a big job to do, and I question whether he's going to be able to do it.
So, just have a look at some of the winners, which the Swiss can celebrate here. Taken Roger Federer to a 2-set lead, dropping just 3 games against the great Andre. What a difference a week makes. Last Monday, this was right to the wire. Tie-break 3rd set. Federer won it. Agassi, 2 sets down here, starting the 3rd. Familiar crowd.
We know he's not going to bring his targets into the court. He's not going to try and beat Federer by being consistent. He's going to continue to go for the line. He's going to continue to try and hurt him with the ground strokes. It's just a question of whether he can or not.
Just can't get what he wants. Once again, maneuvering, trying to maneuver Federer around. He just can't. He just can't get any winners. He's only got 6 winners in the whole match so far. 27 to Federer, 6 to Agassi. We're in the 3rd set to us. Doing a bit the crowd.
That was a nice shot. Agassi did exceptionally well. Great disguise from Federer to be able to float the ball over the American's head. Imperative Agassi holds serve here.
Agassi break the hemorrhaging of games. Not yet. That's what we saw in the 1st set. Blissful winner.
And that's what's hurting Agassi. Look at his body language after the shot. The backhand there, he thought Federer was then going to miss the one up the line. He was already walking towards the net to change ends, and he's still got a little bit of work to do.
His backhand down the line. That couldn't be a more marked difference.
And in the 1st set, Agassi played pretty well. It was just Federer that overwhelmed him. But in the 2nd and now at the beginning of the 3rd, he's giving away so many unforced errors. Federer's not even having to do much to earn his lead.
Break point for his 4th successive break. Better from Andre. That's what he's looking for.
Federer's got to be careful. Doesn't take his foot off the gas and allow Agassi to make a few of those shots and build up a little bit of confidence.
Meaty serve from Agassi. Jim McIntyre right at the top. Sure that Agassi's underway. He's broken a run of 7 successive games to Federer. It's hardly a crisis for Federer in that scoreline, but Agassi showing he's not beaten yet.
Well, he has the advantage of serving first in this 3rd set. And of course, the more times he's able to hold, the more times he's going to be able to open his shoulders on the return games. And then he'll be hoping he's going to be able to put Federer under a little bit of pressure. But I just thought Federer there showed us for the first time a little bit of tension in the arm, that return of serve and break point bouncing before the net, and he knows how important, virtually sealing the match if you've got to break up in this third set. So I think there's still a little bit of tennis to play if Agassi can raise his level.
Please. Nothing.
Fourth double for Federer. Easy frustrated, just a sign he's starting to smoke now. What did that one call that? Such a good shot from Federer.
That's where it's been so effective, not only today but throughout the week. Being able to change direction on the ball, not only on the forehand but also on the backhand, and it's so difficult for the opposition to read it, let alone cover it. Another good example there, if anyone needed, that Agassi really struggles when he's behind in the rally to get the feet in the right position to be able to execute well enough.
In the end, danger quickly averted. Federer again out of nowhere, generating speed there. That was 86 miles an hour off that forehand.
I think the disadvantage for Agassi playing under lights now is the fact that it is just slightly more difficult to pick the serve up than it would be if we were playing in the middle of the afternoon. Federer's been in such good form on the serve. Going to be looking to Federer to gift him a couple of points if he's going to break serve.
Just little things like that, little flicks off the net. Maybe he doesn't adjust quite as quickly as he did. We're looking for excuses, for reasons.
I don't think there's any doubt about the fact that he doesn't quite move as well as he used to. And he said that all along in his career that it's so important that his footwork's right so he's able to execute his ground strokes when he's on balance, and he's in a great position to do so.
But the good thing about this is he's not being carved up like he was in the first couple of sets. This is a much more even contest. He may go down in straight sets, but there's a real fight going on here.
40-30.
That was a resigned look because of that forehand into the net.
Well, when you're in the middle of a match and you're not hitting the ball as well as you would like, you know it, and it hurts your confidence.
Oh, yes. Hallelujah. Backhand down the line, his first backhand winner of the match.
It was a good length serve, and Federer forced to play defensively, which was an advantage for Agassi. And he was able to take control of the point thereafter.
Agassi was on his way to the chair. Terrific rally. That's what he's been unable to do for much of this week, to manoeuvre on the double-hander, get the angle right, set it up for down the line. Well played, Andre. We could yet have a bit of a match here. 2-1.
Well, yes, it certainly was. It was a much better game from Agassi, and I think if we have a look using TMI at the players' return hit points, starting with Federer, we'll see that there's distinct tactics being employed. All the second serves are being hit inside the baseline by Federer, but look at the tactics that Agassi's employing on the serve. 95% of points going to the Federer backhand, so perhaps he needs to vary the serve a little bit more. Look at Agassi return hit points, and he's taking all the first serves on or around the baseline, but taking the majority of the second serves inside the baseline, as you would expect. But Federer is varying the serve much more, and he's not giving Agassi the same serve to look at, point in, point out, and that's what's making things a little more difficult for Agassi.
Great to see the great man still competitive here after the grilling that he's had. They still believe. But is it just a fantasy that Andre can come back into this? But certainly there were some roots there.
Well, I mean, you've been around decades longer than I have, Simon. I'm sure you've seen a lot of 5-set matches where in the third set, the player who's won the first two loses a little bit of concentration and therefore allows their opponent back into the match.
I've forgotten more than you'll ever know.
Oh, it was a nice combination here. Again, the returner serve too short, and Federer's been going back behind Agassi a lot of times in the match, very successfully indeed.
Just an odd mistake now from Federer. No change in expression. Coach looks as if he goes through more torment than Federer. That's hooked after the run in the previous game, that maybe that shot had come to stay. Not yet. Still Federer dominating the rallies by and large.
And even when he's under pressure like they're wide out to the forehand, he's able to hit an aggressive shot back, and Agassi just not able to deal with it.
These are really shocking stats for Andre. Such good form, he can even produce shots like that.
Toughest shot in the book, this, and he played it so well. We saw him play one the other day where he managed to create an unbelievable angle cross-court. Here he knew that Agassi was planted in the backhand side, so he was able to angle the racket face correctly so that the ball went down the line. Incredible control and pronation of the wrist.
Super fetch from Federer at full stretch, but Andre found the gap there.
Excellent point from both players. Really hitting the ball well. Federer taking advantage of the slightly short ball from Agassi, but Agassi able to hurt Federer with the backhand, first tipping the ball lower than the height of the net, forcing Federer to volley up, and then just adding a bit of spin to the last shot to get the necessary accuracy.
Again, it was a good shot from Federer. You'd expected Agassi to get nearer it, and he did.
He's done that a few times this week, just hasn't anticipated the shot early enough, and then as soon as he realizes that he's not going to be able to get the ball and play an effective shot, he doesn't even try.
Stuff. Watching the Federer backhand. Terrific last shot from Andre. Still with us. It's a terrific set. He leads at 3-2. Andre in his 15th end-of-year championships. But this is only surprisingly his 5th final.
I think he definitely doesn't play as well at the end of the year as he does at the beginning, and he said throughout his career that perhaps he would have taken a little bit more time off at the end of the year to prepare for the following one, because he gets tired. The way he plays is quite physical, and I think that's why you've seen him have such a good record in Australia, because he's able to prepare in the so-called off-season and get himself in fantastic physical shape, and then he's able to start the year as well as he would like. But at the end, he tends to think about other things. He's obviously got a family now, and he likes to take his time away from the tennis court in order to be fresh for the following year, and I think that's why his season-end results aren't quite as good as they are the rest of the year.
A run of 5 successive losses in the end-of-year championships until middle of this week. And he's giving it a good shot here in the third set. Apparently he wasn't before, but he just wasn't able to bring anything to bear to the match.
Time.
The noise tells you what you want to hear. The 5,000 or so who stayed, giving Andre Agassi total encouragement with serve so far in the third set.
15.
We've had some good matches in this Tennis Masters Cup 2003. No great matches. If Andre can take this a little bit further, who knows? We might be surprised at the very end. Had some great performances. 2 of those from Federer.
I think you're right, Simon. I think we've had patches in matches where players have played somewhere near their best tennis. We've had matches where one of the players has played somewhere near the best tennis. We've had some drama. We've never had a situation where both players have played some of their best tennis at the same time.
14. Game Federer.
And so it continues. 9th place for Federer. And his service stats are just incredible. That's the situation. Federer winning 85% of his points when the first serve goes in. 69% when the second serve goes in.
That'll be the worrying one for Agassi. He's got to get hold of the Federer second serve, and so far in the match he just hasn't been able to do that.
Love 15.
Agassi, better first serve percentage, but as you can see, not doing the damage that he has done this week. Okay.
Great combination there for Agassi. The first serve went in, forcing Federer to play a defensive return, and then the forehand inside out, forcing Federer to play defensively, and then Agassi ghosting into the net in order to take care of business.
It looked a mishit shot to me, but it must have got the sideline. Federer not complaining. There's confirmation, the line it hit.
Well, it really hurts your confidence when you get toyed with when you put in a pretty good first serve. A little block return from Federer, but it was nice and aggressive and deep enough to force Agassi to play a half volley, which he dropped a little bit too short, and Federer was able to take advantage of it.
Federer trying to second guess it. Agassi's first ace of the match. And he's 4-3 to the good, third set.
Just get that, whatever that is on the court there. You see that bit of something on the court there?
It's warming up.
And also,
Just got to
There's
keep
one
holding
over there by the
serve,
photographers.
Agassi, and he's got to hope that he's either going to get an opportunity on the Federer serve to break, or worst case scenario is in a tiebreak. The first set and the second, obviously, he wasn't even allowed to hold serve as regularly as he would have wanted, so his confidence was very low. At least by holding serve, even if you're getting nowhere near your opponent's service games, you still feel like you're in the match. And the way that he's holding serve, I think, will be giving him a little bit of confidence as well. Federer's not gifting him the points, he's actually winning them. He's playing a little bit more aggressively, he's cutting out his unforced errors, so I think he will feel a bit better about his game now than he did obviously in the first or the second set. Just a case of whether he's going to be able to take advantage of the situation.
Well, he's given his supporters something to believe in, but Federer wants us to finish this now. Still, no change for Roger Federer. Strictly business. $2.4 million he's earned this year as Roger Federer. That's before this week. If he wins this match, Federer will go home from Houston with a check for $1,520,000.
Secondary to you then.
It could keep you in pieces for a couple of days. If you're anxious to know how much Agassi will earn if he wins this, $1,400,000. The winner of this match alone will pick up $700,000. They're not even concerned about it. Federer's service percentage, first serve percentage dropping, but his damage when he's getting it in, staying high. Just like that.
And that's a problem for Agassi. Federer's serving really poorly in this set, but Agassi can't make any inroads even on the second serve. Usually a huge strength for the American.
Fifth double. Again, served at the chip. The forehand was really a mopping up operation.
The pattern of play is one that Federer has really enjoyed in the match so far. Back behind Agassi, and really troubling the American when using that tactic.
We in England, of course, know Roger Federer very well. He's won Wimbledon. And in countries where they have Grand Slams, you know the people who do well in your Grand Slams. The Americans don't really know Roger Federer because he never really featured at the end of the US Open. But they're getting to know him now, and they love what they see, even if he's beating up one of their own. 2 two of them.
Signs are not good for Agassi now. Federer showing some excellent body language and also executing some very nice shots. Agassi here should have done a little bit more with that backhand because it was a good serve, and as soon as he took his foot off the gas, Federer was able to take advantage of it.
Let's second serve.
Ooh, yeah, that hurt. That really did hurt. It's fourth double fault. This is virtually the way the Federer has served through the match, even though his service percentage in is not too good in this set. This is virtually match point.
Game Federer.
And that may be all she wrote.
Federer is 5-4.
Agassi breaks for the fifth. Federer breaks for the fifth time. Agassi sits down. He's very nearly out. Suddenly, just when things looked as if they were going Agassi's way, we just might have met to set off Federer, and who knows after that, it's all gone.
Well, very difficult now, that's for sure. And it was a poor game from Agassi, really, because Federer did hit one great backhand down the line, but been a really poor day at the office for Agassi and all his fans. And I think it was a good point you made, Simon, about Federer really being unknown in America, because particularly in America they tend to know their own and they don't look at too many of the results outside their vast country. But Federer is going to be a name that they're going to come to know and love in the next few years, because he's by far the most talented player in the world, and I think he's, you know, the best player in the world right now, even though he's not ranked #1, and I think he's going to really dominate tennis on all surfaces, perhaps, and one of the few players that is going to be able to do that.
He's just a couple of weeks away from being #1 this time of next year. A good Australian Open for Federer, and he will be the world #1.
No reason why he can't work hard on his physical condition in the off-season and start life very well indeed down in Australia. The surface certainly is one that he can play very well on. It's not unlike this one, just bounces a tad higher.
Federer then serving for the match after an hour and 24 minutes.
Please.
He just has to take it on the chin, Darren Cahill. But there have been so many wonderful days with Andre.
13.
10 aces now. Just missed. There was a call from O'Looney, the far end. Neither of them took any notice of it. There's Jim McIngvale, perhaps writing his script to celebrate Roger Federer's win.
Or his to-do list for next year.
Still working hard as we knew he would. Backing serve. And it's set up match point. Part 2 of the final has been very similar to part 1.
Game 7.
And great that he should finish with an ace.
6-3, 6-love, 6-4.
Roger Federer is the Tennis Masters Cup champion 2003. The fireworks explode. Federer goes to number 2 in the world and surely will be number 1 in the world next year. And he has been a delight to watch. 5 out of 5 against the best players in the world. He's beaten Andre Agassi twice. He's beaten David Nalbandian, Juan Carlos Ferrero, and Andy Roddick, who's a rabbit for him at the moment. And he's astride the tennis world.
Thoroughly deserves his victory. Not only today did he outpass the opposition, but for much of the week, the first match against Agassi was the only one that he struggled in a little bit, saving a couple of match points. But thereafter, he was virtually unplayable and the best player in the world in my mind.
There's his girlfriend, Miroslava Vavrinic. She's going to be busy over the next few days with even more interviews to arrange for Roger. Interesting to know what's going through Andre's mind right now. His 15th end-of-year championships. Will there be a 16th? It's a moot point. There might not be. Will he want to give it the commitment next year to make it a possibility? I hope so. That's all I can say. I really, really hope so. The trophy engraved with Roger Federer's name on it. And he is a worthy successor to the likes of Sampras, Agassi himself, Becker, Curtin, Hewitt. So very soon we'll be starting the proceedings for the presentation. It'll be interesting to see if Jim McInvale can come down and give Roger Federer warm congratulations. There's been a little bit of byplay between the two of them.
I don't think there's any doubt that Federer is going to be he next year, so I think it would be nice if they could shake hands and let bygones be bygones.
Please stay in your seats, everyone. We're going to start the award ceremony and the closing ceremonies.
This is Patrick McEnroe, Master of Ceremonies, Davis Cup captain for the USA. And one of the sponsors' products being brought alongside it.
This beautiful Mercedes, driven by none other than Graf Fitzhugh, the head of sports marketing at Mercedes-Benz. Welcome, sir.
I didn't think our car was...
Also, Mark Miles, the CEO of the ATP Tour.
They can borrow it for a while.
And, of course, Jim McInvale, the man who brought this great event to Houston, Texas. I'd like to introduce the CEO of the ATP, Mr. Mark Miles, to say a few words. Mark?
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Houston, you were simply great hosts, and if it's possible, even greater fans. This was a fantastic week for all of us, and we can't thank you enough. Jim and Linda McInvale. Jim's motto, one of his mottos, is think big. Well, he thought big about this, and he delivered big time, and we can't thank you, Jim, and your team, and Linda.
Invested $15 million of his own money to bring us here for 2 years.
And what do you say about these two guys over here? I was privileged enough to see Andre Agassi win this year-ending event in 1990. He beat Becker, Sampras, Edberg, all the best. And in the 14 years since, I've been privileged to work with him and see what he does every day. And every day, every year, fans all over the world have grown to respect and to love him more, as we all do, Andre. Too good. And I simply don't know what to say about Roger Federer and his tennis. That is just too much. He just keeps getting better and better and better, and I don't know how good it can get, but I know every other player on the circuit is afraid to find out. Congratulations on a great week, and get yourself a break, and we'll see you in January. Well done. Thanks, Patrick.
Good to see the Houston crowd appreciating as much as they do.
Thank you, Mark. Now I'd like to ask a very special person, an incredible human being, an even better tennis player, Andre Agassi, to step up to receive his runner-up trophy.
Run-up trophy, $700,000. It's nothing for
I think it's fitting that the man that hands it to him, when you talk about people that have done so much for this great sport of tennis, you're looking at two of them right here, Jim McInville and Andre Agassi. And Jim, I know you'd like to say a few words before we hear from Andre.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank the fans. We had 15 sold-out sessions, the greatest fans in the world. You know, the tennis world said that we couldn't sell out doubles-only sessions. We had 3 doubles-only sessions. All 3 were sold out because of our great fans. I think it's fair to say that the enthusiasm and the noise in the stadium energized the players and the fans and made the tennis better for everybody. So we thank you for that. I would like to take a minute and thank the staff at Westside Tennis Club, all of whom have worked countless hours to put on this event. They've had many sleepless nights over the last month trying to get this facility ready. And I'm here today to tell all of them a heartfelt thank you. I would also like to sincerely thank my wife, Linda, who put her heart, soul, and $27 million of her own money into this event to make it happen.
There she is. That means the money for the tournament and the stadium.
She and Chris Young, the tournament director, who have worked about 115 hours a week each the last month and a half. You know, we built this stadium. It took us a long time. It took us 4 months. They've received a lot of criticism over the past 8 days. Some certainly justified, some not. But I can tell you the acid test is when I stand out at that gate tonight as people walk out and I say thank you for coming, as I've done to thousands all week long, and the fans who are the judges of this event say great event.
They hardly say any different, but there you go.
So I'm here to say to my wife, Linda, and Chris Young, and all the people who have poured their lives into this event for the past 6 weeks, great event. People ask me all the time why I'm involved in tennis. It's easy. I have a connection with the players. My connection with the players started right here on this tennis court in 1995. We had a tennis tournament here. It was won by the, to my way of thinking, the greatest female tennis player of all time, Steffi Graf. She made a connection with me, and that connection continues with her husband, who is one of the greatest tennis players in the world, but more importantly, to my way of thinking, he is a better human being. So at the end of the day, we had a great event thanks to the fans. The fans, to me, are what matters. You are the one who paid the money. I'm here to say thank you for so many of you coming from around the world, from around the country, from around Texas, and from Houston, and spending your hard-earned dollars to come out here and support this event. We will do it again next year, bigger and better. So in closing, I would like to thank a friend of mine, the man I deeply admire, Andre Agassi, for his great tennis all week long. I'd like to thank Roger Federer, a tremendous and deserving champion, and we'd like to thank all the fans. Thank you very much.
Well, he was long on Agassi, he was a friend of his, but I think he forgot who won.
Thank you, Jim. We in the tennis world thank you, Jim, for getting involved in tennis. We thank Andre, your wife, for inspiring him to get involved in tennis. And you know, Jim, we hope you stay in the game for a long time. You've been around and done so much for tennis the last few years. This man I'm going to introduce now has done so much for tennis, and I guess it's, well, about almost 20 years now, maybe a little less. Andre Agassi. Andre?
Four years after she's retired, and they're still talking about her more than me. Well, I'm used to it. It's all right. Who would have thought that today was my easiest match of the week? I'd just like to congratulate Roger on not just for not just a great match today, but great tennis all week. You're deserving to win this tournament, and man, you're an inspiration to watch you move and play, and you're going to make me better next year. So thanks for that.
That's great to hear. Alex, there's a question.
I'd like to thank Jim and Linda, myself, for putting their hard-earned dollars into the sport of tennis. Building this has been, you should be very proud of yourselves. This was a great event. It was great to be here. Great tennis fans. Houston deserves this. But more importantly than putting your hard-earned dollars, Jim, I want to thank you for bringing your spirit to the sport of tennis, because tennis is served play. And then I just want to say thank you to all you fans here, because I've played here for a few years, and every time I come out here, it reminds me why I work so hard every day, and it encourages me and motivates me to keep giving everything I've got. And I wish I had more for you today, but just wasn't quite enough to get the job done. And I thank you for all your support and all your love, and I look forward to seeing you back.
Thank you, Andre. Now I'd like to introduce the head of sports marketing from Mercedes-Benz, Mr. Graf Fitzhume, who's going to present the Tennis Masters Cup trophy and a sweet little ride to the champion, Roger Federer. Graf? Roger, come on out, please, and take the keys to this thing.
Sat down for so long, Babs, so it's trying to give it a good one.
All right, he's got the keys. Now he gets the hardware. Roger Federer, everyone, the 2003 Tennis Masters Cup champion.
And a brilliant winner too. He rounds off the year where he's matured from boy to man. Top of the pile. 2 in the rankings. That could well change at the start of next year. But he's ended up beating the cream of the cream.
You've captivated the crowd here in Houston all week with your play on the court, so I'm sure this Houston crowd would like to hear a few words from you. Roger?
Thank you very much. This week has been great to me. You know, I thought I was in the toughest group with the toughest opponents, and I came out winning each match, and against really great players. I would also like to congratulate Andre for the finals. I thought you played great after, even against me, but after you lost to me. In a good way, please. Then I would like to thank everybody who was involved in this tournament, ATP, Jim, everybody who made this event work. I really had a great time. I didn't have too much time, you know, off court. I was between hotel and the club here. But it was nice. The people were nice to me, and this Masters Cup means very much to me, and I really hope I can come back next year to defend the title. Thank you very much.
Roger Federer, the 2003 Tennis Masters Cup champion. Thank you, everybody, for a tremendous week. And we will see you back here, well, for the clay courts, and then we'll see you back here for the 2004 Masters Cup. Thank you, everybody.
Classy guy, Roger Federer. There have been a few things behind the scenes between him and Jim McIngvale, but you wouldn't have known it, and credit to McIngvale. Eventually he came round to applauding Federer and his victory, but Federer quick to respond. Now the pose for the photographers. Federer very much the present. The question is Andre the past? It was good to hear what he said, that Federer and his form has inspired him to get even better next year. That's wonderful.
I think we definitely want to see Agassi back next year. We definitely want to see Federer playing even better. And I think these two could have a couple of clashes next year, which will be a lot more worth watching than today's was. But great week for Federer.
So there we have it. Agassi comfortably beaten on the day. Roger Federer, Tennis Masters Cup champion. So those who stayed were rewarded in the end with a full match, but just a slight sense of anticlimax. The best of the match, in fact, was before the rain.
Yeah, it was a shame the rain came, because Federer was playing fantastic tennis, some of the best I've ever seen him play. And even if Agassi was to get beaten comfortably thereafter, with Federer playing that well, I don't think it would have been too bad. But when he came back, Federer didn't play as well, and Agassi still got beaten pretty comfortably, so it was a bit anticlimactic. It was a shame, because Federer's played some great tennis throughout the week, but as you said, Simon, earlier in the commentary, it hasn't been an event for a fantastic number of matches. There's been some where players have played well. There's been some matches that have had some drama in them. Players have played well at different times in matches, but never have we had a great match, which is a shame because it was a good event, and the year-end championships deserve that.
So confetti being shot out into the crowd. Some fireworks as well. But the fireworks that mattered all came from this guy, the first Swiss to win the end-of-year championship. So Roger Federer getting into another of his presents as if $1,520,000 isn't enough. A brand spanking new Mercedes Sports. So he's off. Well done to him. My thanks to Jason Goodall and all the crew here in Houston. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be with us all through next year. For now, goodbye.